So, everything cool? Hold on. Can you talk? Wait. You talk, and let's see if everybody can hear you as well.
Well, I guess I'll just do the introduction again.
Yeah. Just do the introduction. Hi, my name is Jey Odin. This is Riser. Riser, introduce yourself.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Lasse, better known as Riser. I have a YouTube channel called The Webcomic Relief, which is a YouTube channel where I cover and review different styles of webcomics. And I also, every now and again, dive into other sources of media like video games, animes, and all sorts of stuff like that, and just like educate about visual storytelling. So that's me. Oh, and in my real life, I am also a professional graphic designer.
We just got done talking about this, but unfortunately, you guys didn't hear, so that's why it just seems like we're repeating ourselves, obviously. But I'm going to go into the next thing that I said, which was Riser off screen was talking about how he was impressed that Hammer and Saturday AM have finally, they've blown up over the couple of years since the last time he reviewed it on his channel. So Riser, talk about how you feel about Hammer. I know you guys didn't see this, but he said that he has not been keeping up with Hammer because obviously, I mean, when he was making a lot of these videos, like he has to read a lot of different, comics all the time. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But I mean, other than that, like, what do you think about everything that's going on?
All right. So while I'm doing that, I'm reading in a chat that's saying that I'm very quiet. So I don't know if like you can buff me up on your end or something. But I was just like talking about like how cool it's been to, because obviously I follow you on Twitter and stuff, and it's just been like cool to through that see the growth of Hammer and as well as Saturday AM, because like as I believe I covered it, said it's as much in the review I made, where I was like, you could really feel that when you are making it something, you're making it with your heart and soul, and there's so much love and care put into this work. And whenever I see a comic like that, it just like it makes me really happy to just like see those kinds of comics succeed, rather than the ones where you can just see like, oh, this is 100% just a 9 to 5 to people. Like I always vouch for the people who where you can feel like there's love here, and also just like to see Saturday AM explored as much as it has, with like all these cool comics where I'm like, I hate always like do that comparison with real comics, because I don't think that like because like, it kind of like devalues webcomics, which it shouldn't. But it's always so cool when every now and again, like you will share a screenshot, a page or something, or retweet a page from one of these comics on Saturday AM, and I'm like, wow, okay, where can I go read this manga? This is a dude who's posting them online. Okay, yeah, it's not like it's not the new Tide Kubo comic or something like that. And then like you see some of these comics like out in bookstores. Obviously I'm not seeing them in Denmark because we're Denmark. We don't really do a whole lot of comic stuff. But like that they're there is so freaking cool. So it's just been like super cool to see, like, man, Jay's making it happen.
I'm sorry for everybody with the audio. I'm like having to turn off my desktop audio so you can hear me with my microphone, and turn it back on whenever Riser's talking. So that's the reason why this seems awkward. I apologize. Like, this is like my first live like anything like with another person. So I'm working out the kinks. So bear with me. But thank you, man. I appreciate that. I don't know. Like I've loved drawing comics like my entire life. So I mean, it's definitely just something that's really fun for me. And when it comes to Saturday AM, like I don't know. I mean, it just kind of like I'm really really excited that like I got with Saturday AM when I did. Obviously, we're still growing. I would assume that I don't know, 5-10 years from now, hopefully we'll be a little bit bigger, and hopefully Hammer will be a lot bigger as well, because I don't think it's as big as I would like it to be yet. But I mean, it's definitely really cool to hear that from somebody that like has read it and seen it from what it was to what it is now. I mean, there's still pages that I used from back then. I got rid of most of the bubbles.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still a few.
Yeah. Okay. That actually that reminds me because we'll probably get much more into this particular topic later, but I have so back when I read Hammer, I hadn't really read One Piece. I am doing that now, and had I read One Piece before reviewing Hammer, I think I would have been much more kind to it because am I being wrong when I say that you're trying to emulate Oda a little bit?
You're not wrong at all. So initially when I first started Hammer, I feel like a lot of us, in Saturday AM when we initially started our stuff, uh, before we even got with Saturday AM, we had an idea of what manga was, or how we were supposed to like make it and stuff. You see this with some of our creators. They had like Japanese names, like when they're not Japanese. I mean, it's stuff that like we know that we're trying to like go away from. But at the exact same time, not to say that that's horrible or anything. If you do it right, I think it'll be okay. But I mean, when I first came up with Hammer, it was like my way of creating a story that had the same feeling as One Piece, that like still like had you like super excited for like whatever was to come in like the next like chapter and stuff. And I wanted it to feel like a storybook and still have that same feeling. I was trying to find like a good blend between cartoony and manga, which is why I like usually dub myself cartoony manga. But I mean, having gotten older and having realized a little bit more about storytelling and making a manga, an actual manga, as opposed to just a comic book that looks like a manga and like all this other stuff. Like I've been trying to like learn a lot of other things to like get a lot better. And now like I still want to have that same feeling of like, hey, this is like giving me One Piece vibes, but like in a different way, obviously. Like I wanted it to like feel like a grand adventure that's like super epic, but like it's still original to to a point of like saying, hey, I've never seen this before. So like that was my idea.
Uh, and that's really cool to hear. It was just like because like when I was like because okay, I probably have like a very like a different stance on Oda's art than most people. I'm not the hugest fan, but I like it nonetheless. Which is that I don't think this. Okay, I'm not gonna go. The man either doesn't know or doesn't care about visual storytelling, but he makes it work nonetheless. And there's just like he puts in so much in every fucking page. There's just a bajillion fucking thing. By the way, I'm cussing a lot. I'm sorry about that. There's a lot of stuff going on these pages, to the point where it is not sometimes, but oftentimes, like actively working against me. Going, okay, what is actually going on? Like I have to spend like a few extra seconds deciphering a frame, and I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm reading One Piece, and go, this seems familiar. Where did I experience this before? There was something about bubbles. and then I like thought back to Hammer. I was like, this is the same. Jay's just like filling all this love into the pages, and like that was the exact thing, like the same issue I had back then, which is that there's so much there's almost too much love in these pages.
So a lot of people have actually criticized Oda on like his pages because they have so much detail on them. But there have also been a lot of people that have praised Oda for that same thing. I think the main reason why he does it is because he has so many ideas and he has like very little time to like put it all in, like, and cram it in. So like he's doing it in an expert way where there's stories happening in the background. Like, and like it's, I don't know, I like it a lot. Granted, I also understand the flaw in that. Like, it sometimes it's overwhelming for people to like when they look at the page, they like, just glare over it and they're like, oh man, I gotta go to the next page. And that's not something that you really want in a comic book, so or a manga or anything like that. So like I've been trying to get a lot better at that. I feel as though the pages that I'm currently drawing are a lot better, but like I do think that I still could get better for sure. So it's definitely something I'm working on.
I don't necessarily think like it's a negative thing. I just think that it's a thing that you have to kind of like get used to, because like. For those of you who don't know me, I have released a 6 hour long video where I dissect Berserk. And me and my podcast co-host, Cloudy, who is a massive One Piece fan, and I'm a massive Berserk fan, we've kind of like reached a consensus on these two, on the difference between these two, where I'm more in the camp of Kentaro Miura, who made Berserk's way of doing things, and he's more in Oda's way of doing things. And we kind of boiled it down to these two characters from the fighting game Guilty Gear, and I'm gonna like make it so that everyone, even people who don't play that game, knows what it is. There's one character. He's a really cool black samurai. He's called Nagoriyuki, and his entire thing is that he always has his sword in the sheath, and then he pulls it out. He does like a 1-2 swings. He knocks the blade, and then like like it's very like tactful, bang bang, like no excessive movements or anything, and very composed. He does haikus, all this shit. And then there is Baiken, who is a hot lady with fiery red hair, big titties, missing one arm. And her form is just wild. She's swinging the sword around. She's kicking tatami mats up. She has a cannon in her sleeve and shit. Like she's fucking wild. But she's still a samurai. And Baiken is Oda, and Nagoriyuki is Berserk. One is composed. It is like every move has been trained down to a science. All of the fat has been trimmed away. This is like, if you pick up a book, this is what you will see. Like this is the perfect form that is being written in every book on visual storytelling, all this shit. And then there's Oda, who is just going, I'm just gonna fucking do this, and then like stuff is gonna happen. And it works because there's so much fire, there's so much soul, there's so much passion. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just not like sometimes when you're used to one thing and then you go to the other, that can be like at the time maybe perceived as a bad thing. And I think that's kind of what I was doing with both One Piece and Hammer at the time, which was that there's so much stuff going on. I'm being confused, and if I'm being confused, that must mean that it's a bad thing. But I think again, like if I was like going through it now with the knowledge and maturity that I've gained since then, I think I would actually been like much more appreciative of it, because you don't really get that nowadays. There's so many like other comics I'm seeing where they just like use Clip Studio free asset backgrounds or screenshots. And then you got where it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna casually like make this entire fucking fish city background and everything like that. That's so much more cool than just like, oh yeah, here's a tree.
I agree. Like I mean, I've always liked drawing the backgrounds and having complete control over everything that like how everything looks. For a few reasons. The main reason is because my art style is, I'm trying to like veer it into a more like a mixture between what I currently have and a more traditional manga style. Like, so like over the next course of like, arcs that I'm doing, like it is going to be a drastic change, but in a good way. Like I have a vision in my mind and I can't wait to actually start doing it, but I haven't been able to do it as much because especially when it comes to the backgrounds and stuff, because like my stuff is so cartoony. If I do a background that looks very realistic and I just have like a cartoony person just in there, like it doesn't look like, it doesn't line up correctly. Like it'll line up the way I want it to be. Is kind of like I bring up One Piece as another great example, because I mean the backgrounds are like very detailed and they look like standing alone, they could be, realistic backgrounds. But yeah. I mean, then you look at Luffy and you're just like, the guy the cartoon. So I mean, I don't know. I just figured if I could figure out a way to, blend that would be really cool. My brother actually, he makes like 3D models and stuff. And I unfortunately I don't know how to do this, but like he told me one thing that he would do. He like used to draw comics. He doesn't do it nearly as much as anymore. But one thing that he said that he would have done if he knew what he does now is he would build an entire background, 3D render it and all of that, and then input it into Clip Studio Paint, like, and change the angles and doing whatever, so that way you never have to like draw any other panel. You can also like apparently change some of the inking, so that way it still like looks like it's like you drew it. So I don't know, like that was one thing that I figured maybe one day I'll do, but as of right now I figured what, let me just draw it. Like let me just get it done.
I have been like, especially when I've been covering webtoons, that seems to be like a very like common thing for them to do. So much
Webtoons
so.
has no backgrounds, and it's so annoying. That's one reason why I got off of Webtoons too.
Oh, okay. But like sometimes I will say that I just made a video of Viral Hit, which is from the same dude who made Lookism, and that one, like, I felt like the backgrounds were really really cool just because like it was in modern day. Oh god, I'm gonna butcher this. Seoul, like capital of South Korea, and like they're out on the streets and there's all these shops with the signs and everything. Like, I feel like it works really well there. But then, like, when you have like a cartoony manga like yours, where it's more in a fantasy setting and something, I can imagine that it's going to be like, I almost feel that a perfectly straight line is going to betray that world almost. Like, obviously I'm exaggerating, but like there can be a little more curvature, there can be a little more bumps here and there and stuff, and I feel like that would be harder to do with 3D modeling. But it's definitely where I'm seeing that a lot of artists are going, where they model things in 3D, even characters sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to the Webtoons comment that I just said, no, like I have seen a lot of backgrounds in Webtoons, but like it's usually like you said, like 3D generated, and they never look original enough, like, if that makes sense, like to me anyway. Like I always like try to seek out something that looks, I don't know, I mean, if it was a fantasy story anyway, I guess, because I like fantasy stories. So like I'll look out for something that's like, hey, I've never seen this before. That's why I liked One Piece so much, or Toriko, because they would go up into the sky and there's a big giant bean stalking. And you're like, what is this? Like I just thought it was really cool. But when it comes to Webtoons, I mean, I agree, the way they did it, just kind of like having like a background that like is real, but like maybe either blurred or like you just have the line art of that. Like I've seen that a bunch, and I've thought that was pretty cool. So
it definitely depends on what story you're trying to tell. Like, again, Viral Hit is very much about like modern day youths in modern day South Korea doing modern day things with like YouTube and shit. So it makes perfect sense that you're going to use that. But if it's going to be like more like what's the one called that's coming out, Solo Leveling or something, where it's a little more fantasy and shit, and they're like in caves, then then it's going to be a much harder.
I mean, backgrounds in general are always difficult.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's why I try to always like just figure out a way to like, one piece of advice I try to tell people is, if you can think of the background as a different character, like just a big character that just has other characters in it, then I mean, that's one good way of like thinking of, okay, well, what does that big character have on his ear? And that's just actually a building and a window or whatever, or like stuff like that. Just little things to trick your mind into trying to have more fun. But
that's such an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, I thought about it a while ago, and like it's definitely still something that I struggle with, because like my backgrounds are not nearly as good as I'd like them to be. Like I'll look at a background that I draw and I'll be like, that's okay. And then somebody will look at it and they'll be like, oh wow, that's really cool. And then somebody else will look at it and they'll be like, really? It's not.
It's the different stages.
Exactly. Like, and I just feel like my art style in general has like those those stages when it comes to my fans, I guess. But anyway, I wanted to ask you a question. We only have 30 minutes left. I
Oh
asked this
wow.
off screen, and this was the question I was going to ask you. I so back in 2017 is when I first discovered you. For everybody that's watching this that doesn't know, I moved to Florida back then, and I didn't have like cable or TV or Netflix or anything yet, but I did have the internet. So, which is strange, I didn't have Netflix yet. I guess we were waiting for like whatever. We had just moved there, and I was looking at a bunch of different random videos, and I saw yours. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, and I kept on watching more and more videos, and I thought they were pretty interesting. You had like, I don't know, it was like 50 plus videos at the time. And like it was enough to like take my mind off of everything else that I had to like, deal with. Cause like we were moving, like our furniture was like in storage, and like we had to deal with that entire thing. And so like I say all that to say, obviously, you aren't like making nearly as many videos as you used to. So the first question is, if you want to get into it, like why or why'd you stop? And the second is, are you gonna start again? I'm not sure if you'll have time, because I know that life is difficult. But I mean, like just like if you want to get into that, that would be cool. Just give you some time to talk right now.
Like I'm sitting here, I'm laughing my ass off, just because like nothing has happened. I'm just like really slow at working. Like I'm not going on hiatus or anything. Like okay, over the past like half a year or something, stuff has happened. Like I mentioned as much in a video prior to this, where I was going through some stuff with in my private life, and I unfortunately got like really poor response from where basically like my oh, it sounds very drastic. My life was kind of falling apart, and I was just like asking people, hey, I'm gonna like focus a little bit on me, so please don't like bother me too much. And I felt like that was a very like reasonable thing to put out there, especially because like as the having the position that I have been blessed to have right now, I have a lot of different comic creators like reaching out to me for responses or feedback or sparring or something like that. And so like this was just like to tell them I still want to help you, but right now I gotta like focus on me right now. And there was a lot of people who didn't respect that, or like were being kind of like upset that I would make such a request. And that kind of just like killed my drive for making videos, because like who am I? Like I've always said like I'm making them for me more, first and foremost, but it's always nice to like also like make it for other people and see them being happy for it. So it's just like, okay, then why am I making videos? And then like the moment I felt this, I was like, okay, we need to do something to kind of like get the spark back. And that's when I decided to make like a big passion project, which was my video about Berserk. And that took me like half a year to do, just because again it is 6 hours long and took a ton of research and editing and all this stuff. And that was while life was falling apart. So like there was just a bunch of stuff there. And then after that, I put that out, and the response, could be better. But then after that, I made one more video, which was Draconia Chronicles. And then come December, my channel got hacked. And it got hacked for about 2 months, where my channel just straight up got deleted. So I could not make content. And obviously, like, I was sitting on the script and I was ready to work on something, but it's kind of hard to like start like doing the recording and the editing on the off chance that I'm not getting my channel back. So I waited, and then the instant I got my channel back in late February, I started working again. And then like I made I basically just after that I more or less like jumped straight from that to texting you about what is potentially going to be the next video, and here we are now. So I've just been, like it's not that I'm on hiatus or anything. It's just like a one thing took very long, and unfortunate incidents haven't.
Got you. Okay. All right. Well, that makes a lot more sense. Well, first off, I you don't have to talk more about the personal stuff. I understand. Life is life. So like I get it. I mean, that's there's a lot of things I'm currently going on through. Me and my wife are thinking about trying to move and get like a bigger area, so that way we could, like the way we're gonna do this is in a way that we can sell our house and like try to like use the equity in it. And that way we could like get rid of our mortgage payment and like all sorts of stuff. So like we're trying to like figure out a way to just make things easier. So like I totally understand, sometimes you just gotta, step back and think of what would be best for yourself. So that way you can, like realign and, do what you need to do. When it comes to working very slowly, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Right.
I did see the Berserk video. I didn't watch the entire thing because
No.
I mean, like you said, it's 6 hours long. So my advice, one thing that I was thinking about, I didn't know if you had thought about this. I guess it doesn't. You don't have to take it as advice. I guess it's just a comment of mine. But I mean, have you thought about like trying to take that entire 6 hour video and like if you broke up, if there was like 30 5-minute videos, like you could set them up a week from each other, and then just that way it's set up as like a consistent, like, hey, like, okay, so this is something that I did. Granted, the video that you did looks a lot better than the video that I did, because the video that I did is just me sitting here talking. It is very bad, and like it has like, I don't know, barely any views. It's like, okay, so I came up with like this 4-step guide to help out people with drawing comics and stuff, and like I wanted to create like a video series to go alongside of that. So I sat down and I like shot like an entire 2-hour long video where I was reading like every single page. And then like I broke up all of those videos into like, I think 19 videos, excuse me. And I scheduled, I'm still editing like some of the videos, but for the most part, they're all going to schedule out until like June 28th. And like each video is like 3 or 4 minutes long. And granted, I mean, they're not getting any views right now, but like, had I, sat down and did like a 2-hour video that was like way more like entertaining or a lot more interesting, or if I could just get better at editing, like I think I could probably turn this around. But I'm just saying that like, if you did that, you could focus on everything else that you're doing as well. Like, your graphic design work, and you'd still in the background have all these videos still coming out while working on the next video. So let's say you have that 6-hour long video broken up into 30 videos. So like by the time the 20th video came out, like you already worked on the next video that could start coming out in the middle of the other videos, like if you broke that up as well, or like have that come out afterwards. So I'm just saying, that is the only thing that I thought of when I saw the 6-hour long video. I was like, geez, this is so long. This is longer than the Lord of the Rings. Like, this is a long video. So I mean, that's the only thing that came to my head when I saw it. But I mean, what I'm sure somebody else had probably told you that. But I mean, like, what do you think?
Well, I had the thought myself. One of the reasons why was because I had seen that YouTube was like a huge fan of long videos, and then I figured, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go with that. Another thing is that I figured, like, okay, if I am going to cut it up, I have already made like chapters in the video, so I could potentially, like, I could just like give a chapter each time, and then like do a format like that. The problem is that some chapters are 10 minutes, some are 5 minutes, some are 30 minutes. There's one that's about 2 hours long. So it's like it's kind of like varying greatly in length. So I could absolutely like still do it, and Uh,
To be honest with you, I think if you did do that, and like if somebody was like really interested in all the other videos, let's say you broke them all up and you were going to release them like 2 a week, and somebody was really interested in like seeing what the other chapters would be, they could just go to your 6 hour long video that's already up there, and that could just be getting more views. But like I'm just saying, like that would be a way of, if it nothing else, driving traffic to that video.
so like I'm kind of curious about this one. So like in your opinion, what would you suggest then? Would you suggest that I keep the video up as it is now, and then I just take each chapter of the video and re-upload them as a separate video while that 6 hour long video is still up there?
So what I'm currently doing right now is basically that. I every Friday I have a live show where I read comics that are sent to me. They do this because they want me to talk about their comic and give them my own reaction, my own feedback. But if they want me to give them like any feedback, like just privately one-on-one, because some people want me to do that, and like some people think that like I'm embarrassing them, which I'm not trying to. Like I'm just reading the comic, and like that's just what my reaction is. But I mean, I'm always trying to be as genuine as possible, and like give them like actual feedback to what I would tell myself if I was showing me my comic. So anyway, I say that to say every Friday I do this video, and it's usually like 2 hours long, and I read 3 comics so that way I can break it up into 3 sections. And every I'll have it on Monday, I'll have it on Tuesday, and then I have that 4-step guide video that I was telling you about that comes out every Wednesday right now. And then every Thursday I'll have the last comic that I'll come out. And then every Friday I'll do another live show, and that way I can still have something coming out every single time on my YouTube. I say this knowing full well that like nobody watches these nearly as much as I would like them to, but I'm also like just starting out, and I feel like the more I do it, the better it will get. And again, I have a lot of skits that I just did, so hopefully that'll bring some more attention to this with more people. But yeah, I really do think that if you like either left the video up, because I agree. I've seen a lot of podcasts that are like maybe 3 or 4 hours long on YouTube, and people will just have them on while they work, and they like that a lot. So I think that having a really long form video is a good idea. But at the exact same time, I've seen other people and other studies talking about like how most people who are on YouTube usually try to stay on YouTube like, I don't know, about 40 minutes or so. That's like usually like the limit before you're like, I don't want to look at this anymore. So I mean, I've heard that somewhere. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I mean, I try to like keep that in mind with the videos that I'm putting out for those other videos. Like that's why I chop them up to like 30 minutes or 20 minutes or so. But what I would do for you if I was you, like that one video that's 2 hours long, that's a chapter, I would break that up into like 4 sections. Say part 1 chapter 20 part 1, chapter 20 part 2, so on and so forth. But
Then it's gonna be like some Attack on Titan stuff where it's like the final season part 2 or some shit.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, I feel like that way it could also that way at least you could keep it consistent with the time, and you could just have either, I don't know, it could a black screen, like it fades to black at a a good stopping point. It doesn't have to be evenly separated like into 4 spots. But I don't know, that was just something that I thought that would be a pretty cool way to just have things come out while not constantly like working harder. So, yeah.
I definitely think that it's an interesting suggestion, and I might actually like run it through some. I have a little committee where I sometimes like run ideas through, and they I encourage everyone, by the way, to have like a circle of friends that for a fact will tell you when you are saying some dumb shit and set you like on the right path. But yeah, like I have this group of friends where I will like run ideas through, and I definitely like think I might run it through them and like spar a little with them, like ask what they think, because again, I have tried to do stuff like you're suggesting. I did my show and tell of Persona 4, where I think like that was 6 parts, where I had one video where everything was in, for my Patreons. And then I had so that they could just like watch the entire long video, and then I had like several smaller sections that that came out with like a week or so apart. So like, and I also did it with my latest Sonichu video, where that was also parted up into bits. So it's definitely something I've been playing around with, but I never considered like doing it again, but with the Berserk video. So yeah, absolutely.
I think that would be great. And you know, I didn't know that you came out with another Sonichu video. I'll probably check that out because I remember checking those out back in 2017. I was like, holy crap.
well, I had to do it.
That was such a like a roller coaster.
Oh, it gets wilder.
It's oh my god. Oof. I actually recently saw a video about that, and it was like the darker side of that, and I was like, oh man, this is, let me go to another video.
Yeah.
Now I want to see. Anyway, I'm gonna read some of the comments, see if there's any questions. If you guys have any questions, please put them inside of the comments. Also, please check out Riser. His stuff is down below. I'm gonna try to update the description. Maybe I put your Twitter as well. But right now I think his YouTube is down there, so definitely go check him out. I saw one comment that said that you have a Patreon. I also have a Patreon. It is not, as updated as I would like it to be, but whatever. It's what it is. So, hold on, let me bring up these live chats. I am going to try to update it. Like, I actually want to like put these skits on there soon. So if you guys want to be my Patreon, then that is a good way to, kind of segue into that. Anyway, there's one person that says Drag Fang 37 says, "Hey, who is this guy? Soul Shock, and what webtoon does he create?" Hold on. There was that was earlier. There's a guy named Soul Shock who was telling us about the audio, so I'm not sure. Hey Jey Odin, what are your thoughts on David Yoon Spoon manga? Have you read it? Because it is awesome. So first off, Riser, have you ever seen Spoon?
No.
Okay, so that is definitely, I think, a video that you should check out. I think you would like Spoon a lot. Spoon is very cool. There's a lot of different manga that Saturday AM puts out on Pilot Manga throughout their the app. We have like a digital magazine called Saturday AM. We have a digital magazine called Saturday PM, and also Saturday Brunch. If you go to the web comics app, it's called Pilot Manga, and that's where you can read Spoon. I think right now he has like, I don't know, 50 or 60 chapters. He's been working on this for like the last 10 years. His art style is not like as good as you might be thinking it might be after having worked on this series for about 10 years. But I love Spoon. Like, I personally am a huge fan of Spoon. I've always thought that David, he also has the same birthday as me, which is, I thought was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, like he's really, really cool. Have we ever hung out? I don't think we've ever hung out before, but like I've heard a lot of stories about David from the CEO. They've hung out before, and like he's told me like so many stories that like it feels like I've hung out with him. Like he seems like a really cool dude. But Spoon is a really cool epic stories about this guy who gets turned into a spoon. Him and his entire town get turned into a kitchen, but he gets turned into a spoon, and he is now on a quest to find the wizard that did it, so that way he can try to find a way and turn back. Like it's pretty crazy. It's basically Berserk meets I guess VeggieTales. Not VeggieTales, not VeggieTales. It's Berserk meets food, I guess. I don't know, like Toriko. Like I think you would like it. It's a pretty cool series. I read like the first 30 chapters, and I was waiting for a while to see, when he would upload more, so that way I could just binge it. And throughout that entire time, I've just been working on a bunch of stuff for, my own series and everything else. So I haven't had time to like sit down and read more. But yeah, Spoon is a pretty cool series. So I recommend you checking that out, Riser. I think that would be a cool video for you for sure. All right, hold on. What is the other question? The Lost Lindas series was the best. So cool the way you worked in characters into a review series. It all jived together so well. Question for Riser: have you tried doing some shorter form videos, shorts or TikToks?
I do have a TikTok. I don't use it, but I use it basically. I use it for design tips and for food recipes. I don't really like upload that much stuff myself. Um, the interesting part is that typically people come with a bunch of really good suggestions about like, hey, have you tried making this like small little videos, and then you can like throw them up in between other videos. But the problem is that that's still more work, and I'm already like, the reason why it's taking so long is because I'm already working on these other things. So if I'm doing smaller content, that is just more stuff piled on top of it. So it's just effectively going to make
It's yeah. So everything that you're saying, I totally agree. This is another reason why I really think, especially with the Berserk video, because like if you broke that up into 30 videos and separated, like even if you did 2 a week, that's 15 weeks right there of you not having to touch it and like just being able to get hopefully some views off of those videos. But when it comes to shorts and TikToks and stuff, one thing that I've been trying to do, I'm gonna try to do with the skits and stuff. I've just taking the video that's already made and then like breaking up or finding like the first or the most interesting 15 or 30 seconds of it, and then just making that into the short or the reel, and then in the first comment have that be, if you want to check out the actual video, here's the link to it, and then that way they can click it if they want to do that. So I mean, I wanted to do that for a few of the skits that I'm about to do. Unfortunately, I haven't done it for any of these reading comics live shows that I've been doing, but I'm still trying to work out the kinks and figure out everything that I want to do with this channel. So yeah.
I think like it's just like a personal thing that I have, where it's like every time that people are like, hey, can you try and make this content, I'm always thinking, okay, new content, because there's something in me, and it's not a bad thing, but there's just something in me that's like, don't reuse stuff, always try new shit. And again, I think that there's something in my brain that's like, do everything wrong when it comes to YouTube. Because like there's like, for the longest time I wasn't reminding people to like or subscribe or comment or anything like that. I was barely promoting anything, and I've started doing that more. But all those things that everyone keeps telling you to do with videos, like, oh, steady your upload schedule, this length for video, tell people to subscribe, do giveaways, all this shit. Like, I've just like never done that. So I'm a terrible YouTuber, but I'm a great creator, I think.
I've never thought of doing a giveaway. I've thought of that, but I've not thought of doing that recently for this YouTube. So I might try to implement that. But what I would say for you, because you are like, I've seen you do a lot of skits and inside of your videos, and I think that they're pretty funny. Like obviously, like they're usually geared towards like whatever you're about to read that day. So I mean, what I would say. Okay, so I'll be putting out my skits soon, so you'll see that. Hopefully, they actually do pretty well. Like I would hope that people like them, they think they're funny. But what I would say is, the way I did these skits, it took like 2 days to do 5 skits. So like I'm trying to do a little, and they're all like, I don't know, 2 minutes or less. Like, and I'm trying to do a little bit more so that way I can just have like a library. But I feel like if you did like same thing with the Berserk, like I mean, just having like a bunch of stuff already done, even like when it comes to the skits, like that would be your new creator. Hey, this is always new. The repurposed stuff, I would obviously, yes, I would say repurpose. Mainly right now, because like just freeing up more of your schedule. I feel like that would be like the easiest way to do it. But I mean, I would try to like think of doing like maybe short skits and then maybe one day just knock out like 10 of them. And
Mm.
I'm telling you, they're very easy. Like they're pretty fun. I mean, I made up like a bunch of random characters. I think you guys will like it.
I can't wait to see them.
But anyway, we're coming to the end of this. Let me see if there's any more questions. Let me see. Hey Jey Odin, have you checked out Shrine Comics? It's got great titles. And then it says, question for Jey Odin, have you read Spoon? I already did that. Hey Jey Odin, no offense, but when you're laughing, it sort of sounds weird. No offense. Let Mr. Beast do the giveaways. All right. So
wow, they fucking roasted you there. What the fuck?
Yes. So when it comes to my laugh, a lot of people have said that it sounds like I'm coughing, or like I'm dying, or like, I mean, I've gotten a lot of people. A lot of people have said that like it's kind of infectious as well. So I mean, I kind of tend to gravitate towards the positive in that like statement. But I don't know. It's just what it is. Like I remember I actually this might be too much information, but I had to go to the doctor once, and like my doctor was like, the way you laugh is gonna rupture your body one day. Like the way you laugh. So like I had a hernia, and like he was like, you're the youngest person I've ever met who's had a hernia. Like you're the youngest, skinniest person I've ever met who's had a hernia. And then like when I laughed, he was like, there you go.
That'll be why.
Like, well, I guess I just laugh very hard. Like I don't know what it is. So
I will say, like, personally, your laugh gives me life. We did that like the first time you and I talked face to face. It was me interviewing you, and like I came out of that just like smiling from ear to ear. And we would do, and when we were doing the charity stream that you were so kind to join, and like people heard you laugh, I remember like the entire moderation team was just like, "I fucking love Jey. This is just like it gives so much positivity." So like.
See, I like the positive comments.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I just feel like, it sounds weird. No, it sounds great. More people need to have like unique laughs that when you hear the laugh, you feel like laughing.
Well, I remember, what was it? I put my laugh inside of a teddy bear for my wife. It was a Valentine's Day gift. So that way, every time she squeezed it, it would laugh. Because like she also told me, she was like one of the first people that ever told me she loves my laugh, and I had never heard that as much from somebody that I was interested in. Like I had never heard that from somebody like that. So I was like, yeah, she's probably a keeper. So we've been together for the last 10 years. It's working out. It's working out.
That's great.
I have heard of Shrine Comics. There are a lot of people at Shrine that either A, wanted to get with Saturday AM, B, was at Saturday AM, but like left for some reason, or C, like just hasn't gotten with Saturday AM yet, like in the future, and they're just biding their time to like work on stuff. I think some of the comics there, like are they look cool. I mean but I mean I also think, I don't know, like I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I'm glad that people are branching out and making their own platforms and doing all that. I do think that a lot of the people that do not give Saturday AM credit should give Saturday AM credit, because we give Shonen Jump credit. Like we do everything because of Shonen Jump, obviously. Like like it's not like we're gonna come out of nowhere and be like, hey, we're the first ones that ever did this. Like that's never like that's not what happened. So like obviously we're giving homage to the people that came before us, and I think that Shrine and a few other companies that came after us, like they don't do that. So like I wish that they would, but at the end of the day, like I'm glad that they still have an outlet to put out their comic, and they still can get a fan base. So hopefully you guys just keep on doing what you're doing, and rock out.
Hell yeah.
Hold on, there's one more question, and then I'll give the floor to you, and you can say our last comments. We got like 5 minutes left. As a webcomic maker myself, it was so fantastic to have someone out there to review my stuff professionally and really give it thought and care. More comic creators need folks like Riser. This is from Luke McKay, by the way. He said, we all got to die someday. Going out laughing sounds like a great way to go. Well, hey, man, that's what I think Luffy or any of the D clan would probably agree as well. So I mean, I'm not saying that I'm the chosen one, but maybe I am Joy Boy. Who knows?
You never know.
Anyway, first off, Riser, thank you very much for hanging out with me for the last hour. Just going back and forth and talking and stuff. I am probably going to break up this video and repurpose it. So Riser, if you would like to do the same, you could do the same thing. Everybody that's watching my channel right now or in the future, please definitely go check him out. He has a bunch of videos out. He has seasons. Season 1, season 2, I think up to season 5 now or something like that. Like there's a bunch of I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I do know that he is talking about webcomics. He's very passionate. He has a lot of skits revolving around those webcomics. They're pretty cool. Some of them are kind of cringy, but I mean, everything I do is cringy. So you just gotta just do whatever and enjoy yourself. So I mean, hopefully you guys, if you like my stuff, hopefully you'll also like his. So definitely go check him out. Riser, any final thoughts?
And everyone who is watching this on the Webcomic Relief channel, please by all means go and check out Jey Odin. He keeps doing good stuff, and just one of as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, just one of the greats, one of those where you can really feel the passion is driving the work, and it's just really doing a whole lot for the webcomic community. So please go show him some love. He absolutely deserves it.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I will be doing a live show tomorrow between 4 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I right now have only 2 comics that I'm going to be reading. I think the third one might be an old comic that I drew a long time ago. I'll make fun of myself. But if you guys want me to, I did that actually on my very first one. So if you want to check that out, it's pretty funny. It's 2 comics that I read. But if you guys want me to look at your comic, and you want to send me something in my DMs, you can do that either Twitter or Instagram. Do it before tomorrow, and you might be the third comic that I read. But if not, then whatever, I guess. It doesn't matter, I guess. But anyway, thanks again for watching this. I really appreciate it. Riser, thanks again. You rock, dude. I'm gonna stop this right now. And deuces.